Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to Live Storytime. My name is Miss Mary, as most of you know, and I have some great stories to share with you this week. This week's theme, I didn't write what the theme is in the blurb for the story time, but this week's theme is all about having courage and determination and perseverance. And perseverance is a big word, which means never giving up. So if you have a dream or a goal or anything like that, you persevere to help make it come true. Okay, so that is what this week's theme is. As always, please say hello in the comments. Hi, Margie. Hi, Sammy. And this week I have a very special guest. Look who's back! Kermit. I finally remembered. Thank you to Margie and Sammy for actually reminding me last night. That was very, very nice of them. Because I forget him, and it's not intentional. I just forget him. You know, I'm usually running out and have my hands full, and I just don't think of Kermit. Sorry, Kermit. So he is here to listen to some stories today. I'm just going to do one more thing before I start. I want to share this to my Miss Mary the Librarian page. Hi, Kermit. Yes, Kermit says hi too, Sammy. He's glad to see you and glad you asked about him. Okay. So I'm just going to put him, I don't know where I can put him that he won't fall over. So you know what? He'll just come in and visit in between books maybe. So again, this week's theme is courage and determination and perseverance. So I have some great stories to share with you. And let's get started. Okay. This one is called Trinis Big Leap by Alexander DeWitt and Beth Kephart. Trini could do anything. It was a little embarrassing, to be honest. She was the highest flyer, the strongest gripper, the most spectacular cartwheeler at Bounce and Build. She was ridiculously good. A regular aeronaut, a stellar acrobat, an Olympic hopeful. I can do that, Trini always said. I can do that. We love confidence, right? And all by herself, she did. Trini was always ready. It was so much fun being terrific. What did you do today? Trini's mother would always ask. Everything, Trini would answer. Everything? Her mother would ask. Well, everything's so easy. Now, is that really true? Is everything always easy? You can be good at a lot of things, but I don't know if you're good at everything. Like, I'm not so great at math, you know, so that's not easy for me. And then one day, after all her leaps and twirls and swirls and curls, Trini stopped to look around. There they were, Freddie and William, Juniper and Keisha, with the most amazing start of things at their very fingertips. I can do that, Trini said and hurried in. Looks like they're building something. Have you ever built something really cool with blocks? Let me know. Trini began at once. She thought of all the majestic things she might make. A house? Too small. A museum? Too common. A castle? Yes, of course. A castle. That was it. A castle with a tower. I can do that, Trini said. Too long. Too short. Too crooked. Ooh, too wobbly. This was not a castle with a tower. Would you like some help? Mr. Ed asked. No, Trini said. I can do it. I mean, I think I can do it. I'm not so sure I can do it. It's okay to say that, right? If something's hard for us, it's okay to say, I might need help. I can't do it. Maybe, Freddie said, we can do it together. Look what's happening. Look what's happening when all of them work together. What do you think? Trini, her mother called when Trini could not be found at her usual pickup spot. The next day, at the exercise mats, Trini was ready. You can do that, Trini told Freddie. You can do that, Trini told Juniper. You can do that, Trini told Keisha. And in their own ways, with Trini's help, they did. You want to build a taller tower? Trini asked Freddie and William, Juniper and Keisha. Yes, they said. We can do that. Okay, so I loved Trinis Big Leap because it reminds us that, we can do a lot on our own, and it's great to be able to do a lot of things on your own. But sometimes you make even better things when you work together as a team. Okay, so again, let's see. Please say hello in the comments if you're here, and I will give you a little shout out. And this book is called Little by Little by Amber Stewart and Lane Marlowe. Okay, little by little. One day at a time, right? Here we go. Okay. Otto was making a list, an I can do list, and an I can't do list. That's interesting. I've never made a list of things I can't do. Okay. The can do side was much longer. There we go. On it was forward roly-poly, backward roly-poly, being kind to frogs, mudsliding, making very good sandcastles, slippery rock hopping. The can't do side list was shorter. It just said swimming. Okay, so he's a little scared of swimming. Okay. Otto, are you going to swim today? Asked Beaver. No, said Otto. Not at all, said Bear. Not even a little? Otto sighed and went home. Don't listen to Bear and Beaver, said his mommy when Otto told her. Little by little, you will learn to swim. Otto decided he would have to keep trying. Sometimes Otto would pretend he could swim, but really he was hopping very, very quickly along the riverbed. Other times he would run along the riverbank, trying not to be left behind by his friends as they spun and tumbled through the water. But most days, Otto would simply sit on his favorite slippery rock, wishing and wishing from his whiskers all the way down to his toes that he could swim. Poor Otto. Every day, his mommy would say, "Today's the day." And every day, it wasn't. It's hard when you're scared of something. Then, one sunny day, Otto and his sister were watching their friends jumping off the highest ever rock into the deepest ever pool below. You have got to start small, his sister said. Small? Said Otto. Yes, small. Come on. Today is the day to start small. That's how I did it when I learned how to swim. That's a good idea. You don't start by jumping off the highest ever rock. That's not what you do. You start little by little, like the book says. So, Otto started small. He hopped along the riverbed, keeping his toes off the bottom just that little bit longer every time. Then he did higher hops with floating in between. Okay. The next day, Otto did floating without holding on to anything. And pretty soon, he was kicking all the way to the halfway stone. A few days later, Otto splashed and kicked and swam the whole width of the river, from one bank to another, all by himself. And little by little, that width became the length of the river from Otto's den to the deepest ever pool. Before long, the splashing and kicking turned into gliding, and roly-polies on the riverbank became underwater tumbling. When he was ready, Otto invited his friends and family to come see his big surprise. With everyone gathered along the riverbank, Otto jumped off the highest ever rock into the deepest ever pool. I did it, Otto said to his sister. I can really swim. You really can, laughed his sister, hugging her very wet little brother. You see, you started small and finished big. So that is the story of Little by Little, and I think that one is just so great because it reminds us that, we're not going to be the best at something right away, especially if it's something new. So if something is hard for you, or maybe it's dance class or gymnastics class or soccer or anything like that, or painting, if something's hard for you at first, that's okay. You just do a little by little and you get better, right? So, I have a comment. Hi, Angelique. Hi, Braylon. Good to see you again. Welcome to Storytime. And I also want to give a quick shout out to the people who aren't here for the live story time, but who tune in for the replay video. I always give a shout out to the people who are here, but I realized that I should acknowledge the people who watch it after the fact. Maybe they watch it at bedtime or just whenever is good for them. So I want to give a little shout out to the children and parents who are tuning in for the replay later on. So thank you for watching. Okay, let's get another story in, huh? Now, this story is by someone famous. You may or may not have heard of her, but her name is Laurie Hernandez, and she is a gold medal winning Olympic gymnast. So I was inspired by her story. And in gymnastics, you may or may not know, if you've, the children may not know, I don't know if they've ever watched gymnastics, but that is a sport where you fall a lot, especially when you're learning new stuff. So this is a little story about falling and what Laurie did after she fell. Okay, so this is by Laurie Hernandez, and it's called She's Got This. Okay. Every day before school, Zoe watched the birds perched in the tree outside her bedroom window. She loved the way they hopped and balanced on the branches. She loved the way they flew. As she ate her morning cereal, Something on TV caught Zoe's eye. A gymnast was dancing along a beam, flipping and spinning and landing with her arms out. Flying. For real. Well, what do you think Zoe said? Zoe wanted to do that too. Her dad took her shopping for a leotard. Her mom drove her to her first gymnastics class. Zoe loved stretching, tumbling, and swinging on the bars, but her favorite thing of all was the balance beam. And a fun fact, that the balance beam is actually Laurie Hernandez's favorite part of gymnastics too. Zoe learned to turn and to jump light as a bird on a branch. Other kids in class wobbled, but not Zoe. Soon, Zoe was ready to fly just like the gymnast on TV. She stood on the end of the beam and gripped it with her toes. She lifted her arms, then she leaped. For a minute, Zoe flew. Ooh. Then she hit the mat with a thump. Zoe's knee hurt, her shoulder hurt, her head hurt. Inside, her heart hurt too. Falling is not fun. That night, Zoe told her parents she didn't want to go back to gymnastics class. Because you fell? Her dad asked. When you were learning to walk, you'd fall down and get right back up. But Zoe didn't remember learning to walk. She did remember hitting the mat with a thump. Poor girl. One time I fell while running a race, her older brother said. Then I picked myself up. You can't let a fall make you quit. But Zoe's brother was big, and she was little. I fall all the time in karate, her older sister told Zoe. That's part of what we do. Learn to fall without getting hurt. But falling did hurt. Zoe didn't want to fall again. Let's go out, Zoe's mom said. Go out? Asked her dad. Why? To celebrate, said her mom. Celebration meant ice cream with hot fudge and sprinkles. What are we celebrating? Asked Zoe's brother. Zoe's first fall, said Zoe's mom. It's good news. We'll see why she thinks so. How is falling good news? Each fall makes you better, Zoe's mom told her. Now you have to try again. Maybe you'll fall, but maybe not. You won't know unless you try. A tiny bird soared over Zoe's head. The next week, Zoe went back to gymnastics. She did somersaults and cartwheels, she turned flips, and she danced along the beam. Sometimes she fell off, but every time she did, she got right back on. After several weeks, Zoe's class put on a show for all the families. When it was Zoe's turn, she hopped up onto the beam. She paused and lifted her arms and her chin. Her parents smiled, and her brother and sister cheered. Her coach nodded. Zoe breathed deeply. In a moment, she would jump into the air. She didn't know if she would fall or if she would land safely, but she knew one thing. She was ready to fly. That is the story of She's Got This. So if you are in a sport where you fall a lot, or anything that's hard, and that you might, even if you're really, really good, even the best gymnasts in the world fall off the balance beam sometimes, or just don't have a great day. But they keep coming back and they keep working and they get better and better. So again, that is a story about never giving up and having perseverance and determination to be the best you can be at whatever it is you're doing. When you're maybe you like to write, or you like to draw, or anything like that. You know, you don't always start off knowing everything. Piano is another thing, or any musical instrument. You don't start off knowing how to play really fancy piano pieces or really complicated drum solos. No one starts off with that. You start off with a simple beat and then you keep going. So don't let the troubles along the way stop you from trying to get better. Okay. I think, you know what? I still have 2 more stories and I want to read them both, so we might go a little bit over. Hope that's okay. This is called Parker Looks Up, An Extraordinary Moment by Parker Curry and Jessica Curry. Parker Curry loved to dance. Dressed in her favorite tutu, she imagined she was a dancing queen. But one rainy Tuesday, instead of going to dance class, Parker's mom said, "Let's go to the museum." Ava, too. Parker loved visiting the museum almost as much as she loved twirling and leaping in the air. She pulled on her boots. Mom and her sister Ava buttoned up their jackets. "Have fun, girls." "Bye, Dad." And off they went. Splashing and smiling and, oh, here's the museum. Surprise! Gia, Parker's best friend, greeted them from the top of the museum steps. "Yay! It's Gia!" Once inside, the friends hurried down a hall, looking at the paintings all around them. Has anyone ever been to a museum? They are really big. They saw prancing horses, blooming flowers, a bushy mustache, a shiny jeweled necklace, 2 peacocks with red eyes, and a basket of slimy fish. Ew! And feathers. Lots and lots of brilliant feathers. Hurry up, Ava! When Gia spotted a playroom, she raced ahead. Parker charged after her. Explore. Let's make silly faces. After Gia stuck purple hair onto the easel and Parker added a pirate hat and sunglasses, it was time to go home. Time to go, girls! Skipping down the hall, the girls spied a row of frilly white tutus. Parker raised her arms. Gia spun around and around and around. "Wait for me," Parker called, dancing after her friend until... She froze in her tracks, spellbound. Parker Curry looked up. A portrait of First Lady Michelle Obama loomed before her. She had rich brown skin, just like Parker, and kind, familiar eyes that reminded Parker of her mother, her grandmother, her sister, and yes, even of herself. How could someone look so real and so magical all at the same time? Who is she? Parker's mother's voice filled the air, her words coming to rest squarely on Parker's tiny shoulders. Inspirational, courageous, confident, dynamic, honest, advocate, volunteer, mentor, hopeful. "She is a queen," Parker whispered, unable to look away, to move, to breathe. In that moment, Parker saw more than just a portrait. She saw a road before her, with endless possibilities. Suddenly, Parker felt a small hand in hers, and the spell was broken. "Come look, Ava," she said, putting her arm around her little sister and standing tall. For Parker Curry was feeling powerful and strong, and even though she hadn't moved, inside, she was dancing. Okay, that is the story of Parker Looks Up. I just loved that moment. When you see something or someone who is just so inspirational, and in Parker's case, she was so inspired before she even knew who Michelle Obama was. She was so inspired because it was someone who reminded her of her mom and her grandma, and she saw someone who looked like her. And that is so special for a child to feel represented. So I just loved that story. And once she learned about Michelle Obama, she was even more impressed. So I just wanted to share that one. This is my last book for the day, and it inspired, it was recommended to me by a good friend, a fellow librarian named Sandy. Hi, Sandy. And this was the start of my vision for this story time and this theme. She recommended this book to me. I loved it, and everything fell into place from there. I knew that I wanted to read this book today, and I built the story time theme around this one. So this is called The Magical Yet by Angela DeTerlizzi. The Magical Yet. There are days when your dreams haven't come true, or you're upset by the things you can't do. If you've lost, or failed, or cried just a bit, you're tired of waiting, ready to quit. Like that shiny new bike you couldn't ride, and it just didn't matter how hard you tried. You couldn't pedal, and you couldn't steer, and you couldn't get that bike into gear. Then, when you thought you were on the right track, you popped a wheelie and fell on your back. Ouch! And now you won't ride. No way, not ever. No riding for you. You'll walk forever. Don't give up now. There's a major game changer, a most amazing thought rearranger. Someone to show you how good you can get. Now introducing the Magical Yet. With this Yet's magic, you can begin to see that you're going beyond where you have been. There are so many things that you've learned to do when you didn't know the Yet was with you. Like when you babbled before you could talk, or how you crawled before you could walk. Yet's a dreamer, a schemer, a hoper, a trier, a maker, a doer, a gotta fly higher. This Yet finds a way even when you don't, and Yet knows you will when you think you won't. Like that shiny new bike that you couldn't ride, hop right back on with the Yet by your side. Yet doesn't mind warm-ups, fixes and flops, do-overs, redos, stumbles and stops. Yet knows there's mistakes, some big and some small. With Yet, you're sure to get over them all. Play the kazoo or play the bassoon. Jam with the Yet, and you'll soon be in tune. Try skateboarding tricks like the ollie heel flip. This Yet can get to the championship. Tongue twisters twisted your tongue in a knot. Yet says keep trying and practice a lot. Be patient. yet can't do it all overnight. Some things take days, months, or years to get right. But if you keep leaping, dreaming, wishing, waiting, learning, trying, missing, with the yet as your guide all along the way, you'll do all the things you can't do today. Now you're bolder, braver, starting to see with yet you can get where you want to be. You finally did it, yet knew you could. You're not just writing, you're getting quite good. But don't stop now, you've got so much to do. The good news is, this yet grows with you. So no matter how big or old you may get, you'll never outgrow, you'll never forget. You can always believe in the magic of yet. And that is the magical yet. So that is something inside of you that's telling you to keep going and to keep trying. And even though something may not happen for you right away, keep practicing. Keep trying something even though you may have failed the first time. And that magical yet will help guide you along the way. So that is this week's story time. I hope you enjoyed the theme. I hope you, I know Kermit did. I think he was a fan. I think he especially liked Little by Little because it took place at a pond. I hope you enjoyed this week's stories and this week's theme of determination and perseverance and never giving up. And I will be back next week with more stories, of course, and a couple of reminders for next week too. So, you borrowed that book from the library. I know, Sammy. Your mom told me that you did. That's a great story, isn't it? Beautiful story. So thank you to Sandy again for recommending that to me. And I hope everyone has a great rest of the week. Stay healthy, stay safe, be well, and I'll see you next week with more stories. Bye, everyone.